Hello, everybody. Welcome to TAPED Crusaders, the podcast that reviews every single superhero TV show movie ever made in history. I'm your co-host, Mike Allen, and joined by
Joshua Mervell, and today we are going to be taking a look at the 1975 Wonder Woman TV movie pilot.
Yes, the new original Wonder Woman. The new original Wonder Woman. We already reviewed the Kathy Lee Crosby failed pilot, and now we're going to review the successful pilot for the TV show that followed. And joining us this week is back again, Erica Rock.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Now, just for the record, technically, Erica, can you share with our listeners how long this has been in the works? Because remember we talked about having you review Wonder Woman more than 10 years ago.
At least, if not more like 15.
15 years. 15 years in the making. Yeah.
Yep.
I was getting my hair cut, and she was talking about how much she loved Wonder Woman, and I was like, oh, we're going to have you on the show. But we just didn't get around to reviewing the Lynda Carter Wonder Woman until now. So why don't we briefly talk about this? Like, I didn't realize you actually have a DVD box set. That's how much of a big fan you are.
I have all 3 seasons.
That's amazing.
On DVD, yeah.
So when did you first become a fan of Wendy?
Well, it's solely, I'm going to guess, solely based on the TV show. I was born in 1975, which is kind of weird because I don't think I was watching it. It must have been in syndication on some level.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I used to have Wonder Woman underoos as well. And she was the only female superhero. So I'm going to guess I was probably in kindergarten when I watched it, and she was on, Lynda Carter was also on, I don't know if you know this, but Maybelline lipstick commercials.
I do remember. Yes.
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. And I just automatically assumed she was Wonder Woman. Like, she was real to me.
Sure.
And when I was actually, I must have been younger. When I was 3, we went to Disney World, and there was a barefoot water skier who was dressed as Wonder Woman. And my mom said, I truly believed that she was actually Wonder Woman. And there's a picture of me standing next to her, looking up at her with such adoration.
Right.
And I met Wonder Woman when I was 3. So I was about 3 when I started being obsessed with Wonder Woman.
Well, I mean, I watched the Batman TV show, the Superman movies. And I certainly watched the Lynda Carter Wonder Woman when I was a kid. And I remember there was sometimes you just remember one scene from a show and it sticks with you. For some reason, I remember watching an episode and I remember Wonder Woman was following someone because she was kind of a spy, right? In the later seasons especially. And I remember her saying something like, oh, I recognize the eyes. There's something with the eyes. And I remember as a kid that burned into my memory. And so when I went back and rewatched the show, I waited for that scene. And then it came and it was exactly how I remembered it. So I'm like, yep, that's the episode. It stuck with me all those years, like 35 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So Josh, let's ask you, what's your experience with this TV show? Had you ever seen it before?
I've seen an episode or 2, and I've seen like tons of clips online. Okay. I mean, I feel like different clips are shared all the time online for this, and just kind of like, she was really the only live action Wonder Woman up until, I mean, obviously there were others, but the only notable one really. So when I pictured Wonder Woman in real life, it was this version. So
absolutely.
I didn't watch this show growing up, but definitely familiar with it just through like cultural osmosis.
Yes. Yeah. So we should say that, Erica, I'm not sure if you knew about this, but there was a failed version of Wonder Woman before this starring Kathy Lee Crosby. Did you know about that one?
No. Yeah. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I think I have it. I can send it to you, but it's not horrible, but it's a completely different version of the character. Almost no resemblance to this version, which is obviously closer to the comics. But so Wonder Woman had appeared, I believe, in an animated episode of Brady Bunch or something like that first. She was in Super Friends. but this was her this was her live action debut, and it was the first season, as we saw, was set in World War II, so she was fighting Nazis. That was only the first 13 or 14 episodes. Then technically the show was canceled and it was picked up by another network. And when it went to the second network, it was modernized to reduce the budget. And so that's why seasons 2 and 3 are set in the modern day, and the theme song is slightly adapted to a more disco-y feel. But
yeah.
And just for the record, I just marathoned the entire show over the past few years again. So
did you?
The quality varies, right? The quality varies. Some episodes are really good. Like, they actually have Frank Gorshin playing, I don't know if he plays like a version of the Clock King or something like that. Some type of a Batman-esque villain. There's another episode with Malcolm McDowell. I don't know if you guys know Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, he's a great actor. Such a good actor.
Yeah, he is.
Yep. And anyway, so some episodes are good, and then it kind of dips into 70s action movie cliches, where then in I think it's the third season, Wonder Woman gets like a motorcycle and like like a
skateboarding one.
Yeah, there's a skateboarding one, right? Yeah, she's just
with
skateboarding for like 20
outfit,
minutes.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, overall, I mean, no one can say a bad thing about Lynda Carter. She's perfect as Wonder Woman. I did like in the first season Etta Candy, who we don't see in this episode yet in the pilot, but she was one of my favorite characters, and they ditched her in season 2, obviously, because they jumped ahead like 35 years or whatever it was, right?
Oh.
So, yeah. Remember Etta Candy in season 1?
No. I would have to rewatch the show because it's been a long time. I mean, as I said, I had to dig out a DVD player to try and watch it. It's been a long time, and it is really hokey. So, but back when DVDs, when you were first buying stuff like that, I was like so excited to be able to rewatch it. I don't know that it lived up to the magic of my childhood memory of it, but still was fun to watch, right? Like when she does the spin.
Oh my god.
That spin, like even in the first episode when she's got her nurse's uniform on and she starts doing the spin, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I spent a lot of time spinning.
Yes, that was Lynda Carter's idea. Yeah. Yep. Because of because she knew ballet, right? Or she was as a kid. So she just thought of it on the spot. But anyway, okay, we're going to talk more about all those little things later. But right now, Josh is going to tell us the plot of this episode. In brief synopsis. Go ahead, Josh.
If you want to jump in at any point and correct me or add anything, please feel free to.
Okay.
But we start off with the episode in Germany. We're looking at some Nazis. We find out that some of these Nazis want to bomb the U.S. with some test airships. A U.S. spy who's pretending to be a Nazi soldier warns the U.S. spies, or the U.S. military via carrier pigeon, as to not alert the Nazis that they know of their plan. They decide to send Steve Rogers to intercept these Nazi bombers in the Devil's Triangle, or the Bermuda Triangle. Now, they decide to do that because they don't want the Nazis to know that they know of their plans. So they don't want to like out this U.S. spy working for the Nazis. So Steve goes there. He takes down the bombers, but his plane also gets destroyed. So the last two of them, Steve Trevor and this other Nazi soldier, are floating down on their parachutes, and the Nazi soldier shoots Steve Trevor, and he lands safely, although injured, on Themyscira.
Yeah, but I think they just call it Paradise Island in this.
Paradise Island, yeah. That's where Wonder Woman finds him. And it's strange because she's actually named Wonder Woman.
Yes!
And her like secret identity is Diana Prince, which is really strange. So even on this island, they're calling her Wonder Woman, and Diana Prince is actually just her like U.S. name to blend in, so she's not Wonder Woman all the time, right?
Yeah, to be fair, in the comics, I think she's just Diana. Oh, no, sorry, she's Princess Diana.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she becomes Wonder Woman, and then her secret identity is Diana Prince.
As Diana
Very
Prince,
clever.
right.
But yeah, you're right. It's like, I love how, like, in the modern comics, they always have to explain where they get the superhero name from. But in here, she's just like, no, my name's Wonder Woman.
My name's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
She brings her to, like, all of the other... she brings him to the Amazonians. They heal him up, and while he's, like, in a coma / sleep talking, he reveals that World War II is going on. So the Amazonians are kind of like, okay, this is bad. We've got to fix this somehow. So we're going to send our best warrior over with Steve Trevor, bring him back to the US so he can be healed up and back with his people, and you're actually going to help stop and end this war going on. So to do this, they hold a competition to find their greatest warrior. The Queen of the Amazonians doesn't want or Wonder Woman to compete, so she disguises herself and competes in this, like, Olympic style competition and ends up winning. After that, she's, like, gifted a bunch of special items that kind of make her Wonder Woman. So, like, her belt that allows her to keep her powers even if she leaves the island, her lasso of truth, and possibly the jet might have been in there too in the deal somewhere. She also gets a crown and stuff, so she kind of, like, gets all the pieces to her costume.
Right.
She reveals herself to be Wonder Woman, and the Queen kind of, like, accepts it. She loads up Steve Trevor in her invisible plane. They fly over to the US, and she drops him off at a hospital. After that, she walks the streets and does some, like, fish out of water stuff.
I love that.
She tries on clothes. She talks to strangers, and most importantly, she stops a bank robbery, and she's, like, deflecting bullets like she was on the island. A theatrical agent, this, like, scouts her and is like, hey, we can make some money if we team up. I can put you in a show. We can make some money. Let's do this. So the two of them team up, and he hires her to kind of essentially go on this, like, freak show type of like, entertainment thing. So she's on stage. They're handing out flyers that say she's completely indestructible. Not, like, no weapon can stop her or something like that. So at this show, we learn that Steve's girlfriend, Marcia, is evil, and she's sitting in the crowd with an old lady, and the old lady, she sends up her friend with a machine gun to test to see if Wonder Woman is really capable of deflecting all of these bullets. So in hopes to either kill her or to, like, test her out to see, like, how powerful she really is. Marcia is obviously jealous of Steve, that Steve was rescued by Wonder Woman, but also at the same time, she wants her dead because she's secretly a Nazi. We also find out that the Nazi leader is going to do this, like, bombing himself after the first time didn't work out. Diana learns that this is going on, so she quits this, like, freak show gig that she's got going on to make money. And when the agent finds out what's going on, he also reveals himself to be a Nazi spy, because everybody during World War II was a Nazi spy.
Right.
And it turns out that he was working with Marcia the whole time and was supposed to kill her, but, like, never actually tried to kill her, like, used the show, I guess, to see if somebody could shoot her. Anyways, he goes to join up with some other Nazis, and he runs into Steve Trevor, who is going there to stop them. He's finally out of the hospital, out of a coma, and then boom, is quickly knocked out again. The talent scout Nazi takes him to Marcia's apartment, where they inject him with truth serum to find out the combination to a vault to get some military secrets. Diana transforms back into Wonder Woman and meets Marcia at the base, where they have the worst fight probably in cinema.
I'll get to that later, but yeah.
And they start punching each other. Wonder Woman ends up winning, and she uses her lasso of truth to figure out two things. where Marsha's apartment is, where Steve Trevor is being held, and the location of where the Nazi bomber is going to be. So on her way to the apartment, she flies into over the ocean, lands her ship on the Nazi spy ship, her invisible jet, and she hijacks it and essentially crashes it into a Nazi submarine, ending that story really quickly. She then goes over to the apartment. She stops the other Nazis, frees Steve Trevor, and that's kind of the end of all the conflict. We get a little bit of an ending where we cut to a bit into the future, and Steve's walking in the military base again. He walks into his office and he meets his new secretary, Diana Prince.
His grotesque, ugly secretary, Diana Prince, yes.
So it's actually Diana Prince, but ugly this time because she's wearing glasses.
Right, that's how we know she's ugly. Yep.
Yeah,
it is.
And I guess credits roll. And
know,
that's kind of setting us up for the status quo of what's going to be coming with the TV show, with Diana Prince working with Steve Trevor as the secretary, learning all the military stuff, while secretly dressing up as Wonder Woman and being a superhero kind of in secret. So, that was as quickly as I could possibly summarize all these big events.
I'll just say quickly, I did not think the Nazi plot was well done, even by Wonder Woman TV show standards, because I watched the whole show. However, I did enjoy the fish out of water stuff, and I enjoyed the interplay between Diana and Steve and some of the little bits, but the actual plot I did not think was good. But I want to know, Erica, what your first impression was going back and rewatching this again. What did you think of this episode?
Well, I fell asleep.
Okay.
So
Woo!
I don't remember her crashing into the submarine. Clearly, I missed that part. So it felt so long and tedious, and parts of it had me laughing at the ludicrousness of the 70s, right. All the girls on Paradise Island running around in basically lingerie. Yeah. And I think supposed to be barefoot but had nylons on. I kind of picked up on their feet didn't actually look bare, which was anyway. And Cloris Leachman was super freaking weird as her mom.
Yeah.
Was she supposed to be mental like that? Because she was mental.
Annoying and not funny.
She was so mental. No, and it was she's the queen of an island of strong warrior women, and she was acting like an idiot. And the Nazi stuff, I was just this is the most boring episode ever. I just was I think this is why we watched the first one and then skipped to the second and third seasons, because the 70s stuff was at least palatable. There's some cool costuming and stuff like that, but it's just that first plot and the weird little guy that was actually the American working for the Nazi, and the Nazi was that he looked like the guy from Penn and Teller, was it?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I got.
Is it actually the guy from Penn and Teller?
I assume not.
No, I don't think so. I think he's 20 years younger. But if you skip the whole first season, Erica, you should go back and watch it, because I do remember really enjoying it. And they also introduced Wonder Girl, played by Deborah Winger.
I feel like we might have kept going. I would have to rewatch all of it in order to be able to tell you. But this episode was quite tedious for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And just the bad guy Nazi and the terrible German accents and I was what is even happening? I don't even care. Is kind of how I felt.
Right. Yeah. Josh, how about you?
Yeah. I think all of the Diana stuff is pretty good. Other than that, everything else kind of feels a little strange. Steve Trevor feels like a bumbling idiot.
Yes,
that can never stay conscious. I don't know if that's a thing, and that's a theme. I don't know if that's a theme, like a reoccurring joke throughout the series. Maybe he's constantly getting knocked out, and Wonder Woman has to save him or something. But
kind of a little bit, right?
Yeah, it felt weird that it happened twice.
I think he's more of an idiot in the first season, and then in the second and third, he's better because
they're more like a duo.
He's his son, right?
He's his son in the second and third, yeah. But
so that was strange, and then the villains were awful. they were really
but
kind
like
of crummy.
Not good awful, bad awful.
Yeah, and there were too many of them, and like we weren't surprised that like Marsha was evil, for example, or even the talent scout, like her boss or her manager, him being a Nazi made no sense. Like it was ridiculous. No. And I think if this had like that goofy tone and campy tone of Adam West Batman, it wouldn't. I wouldn't even question it. It'd be like, oh my god, that's so ridiculous. But this is like, it has some goofy moments and it's able to have fun, but it still kind of feels real. You know what I mean? For the most part, or
like if they were going to do camp, then it didn't land. Like if Cloris Leachman was supposed to be campy, like if they were trying to take a page from the Batman series, they didn't do it enough, but it was just weird.
Yeah.
Like, because there was like Nazis are a serious, heavy thing, right? So if they didn't make it goofy enough for it to feel like they were trying to be goofy. There was parts that were like, okay, this feels goofy, but
I totally agree. You're right. They didn't know their own tone. And one of the things that really irritated me was the lame attempts at humor. Like in the opening scene when the two Nazis are in that room and they're talking, there's like a little running gag with the short guy doing something stupid. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't funny. And then remember the mother was like chewing on her knuckle or something, and she like looked at her knuckle, and I'm like, what are you doing? Is this like this weird, like it's almost like what's it called, mugging for the camera, like desperately trying to get a laugh. It was like a weird sitcom in the middle of this sort of serious show. But like I did like the parts of like Wonder Woman walking through the street. I actually thought that was cool. And like people staring at her, like, what the hell is she doing? Now, granted, it's ridiculous that she just happens to walk by when a crime is happening, but it could have been cool. But then when the guys are like, I had never shot abroad before unless it's self-defense. Like they're taught, like who are these guys?
Right.
Yeah.
And then going, I like when she went into the clothing store and like the joke about her just taking the dress. That was cool, right?
Yeah. I think the low-key stuff really worked. I mean, even like the goofy moments when characters are like almost saying a joke sometimes work. Like the American spy who is sending the carrier pigeon, he would like tie the little note to the carrier pigeon's leg and then go, and he's like, I love you, America, or whatever he would say, like under his breath. Like that stuff I think was like kind of funny because it was just like a character being themselves, you know what I mean? But like you were saying, when she's like biting her knuckle and then almost like looking to camera, like
yes, that's
it's like,
the key,
what
right there.
Is that? So strange.
Yeah.
And again, it's like I'm not expecting this to be high drama, but if you're gonna have Wonder Woman's mother, you'd think that the writers would say, okay, well, she's 2,000 years old. Let's make her wise. Let's make her a warrior, right? Like, let's make her like something. But it's like,
and she was none of those things.
No, they weren't even thinking when they were writing this thing. Like, again, it doesn't have to be genius. It just has to have some thought put into it, right? And it was just, it was just, a lot of it was pretty terrible. I don't know.
Yeah. Agreed.
And okay, so we should say this actress that we all didn't like as the mother, she apparently only did this episode, and then she was replaced for season 1 by a different actress.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently, so this was Cloris Leachman, who I don't know. Erica, did you say you know her? You
don't?
No. What's she from?
Oh my God, she's kind of great, actually. And one of her funniest roles was, I think it was called Raising Hope.
Okay.
It was a crazy show with Martha Plimpton, I think is her name. And she was the grandmother, and she was like a senile, and it was fantastic. She was so funny. Really? And she was also on the later episodes of Facts of Life. You know, when they opened, like in the 80s, they opened a store. George Clooney was on it too, and Mackenzie Austin, and they had this like cool 80s store that was kind of like the It store, but I don't know. And she replaced, I'm gonna blank on the house mom's name. What was the original house mom's name with the red hair? Do you remember?
Oh,
on
Mrs.
Facts of Life?
Oh my God.
Can't-
I don't remember her name, but I know exactly who you're talking about, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she sort of replaced her, and she's always been a bit of a goofy character.
Sure.
But she was so funny on Raising Hope. Like she made the show to me. It was a really funny show. It didn't last very long, but when I saw her name this time around, the first time I don't think I noticed it. Maybe that's why she was being I'm wondering, because maybe she's always been a comedic actress.
Sure.
But I don't know a lot of her early career, to be honest.
I'm ashamed to say I hadn't heard of her because according to Wikipedia, she is the most nominated person in history at the Emu War. It's tied with Julie Louis-Dreyfus for 22 nominations.
Wow. I know her from Young Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen that. We should both watch Raising Hope.
Well, okay, so
yeah,
hilarious.
Okay. It's on the agenda. So I'll just say though that so she only played the character for one episode. Then in season 1, she was replaced by Carolyn Jones, and then in season 2 and 3, she was played by Beatrice Straight. So anyway, just keep that in mind when you're rewatching it, Erica.
Okay.
I'm also going to say, did anyone notice when she first put on the Wonder Woman costume, she had the skirt, the 1940s skirt? Did you notice that? And then she took it off. So that was just a little tribute to the 40s. Did you notice that, Josh?
Oh, no, I didn't realize.
Yeah, she actually had the skirt on, and then her mother said, "Oh, you can take it off if you want," and she just took it off, and she never had it on again.
Yeah.
Huh.
And her bottoms get smaller and smaller as the seasons go.
Yes.
They get a little more high cut.
Scant, yes.
Looks a little bit like a puffy diaper in this season.
Yeah, and that's what's weird about this costume. Like, I like, it's like the costume somehow doesn't quite fit her body. It's like you said. It's like it's sitting on her. It's not wrapping around her. And like, okay, it makes her bust look almost comically gigantic. Like from the side, it's almost like
it
like
looked like
missiles.
she had like a corset on. She had to have had a corset on.
Her waist, I think it looks pretty tight, and her waist is so small, right? And it does. It makes her boobs look like torpedo boobs.
Right.
And the bottom of it looks like the material's really thick. And I'm wondering if, spandex wasn't available yet. If it's meant to look like that because it's the 40s and spandex wouldn't have existed. I don't know.
I don't think they were thinking that much. I think they were just like whatever's available, right?
It just was like puffy.
Right, I got
Looked like a diaper. Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, it's not a great costume, but at least it's nice and bright. I like that.
It's beautiful.
But we should also say that when she did turn into Wonder Woman for the first time, when she spun around, she didn't have the traditional lightning flash that comes later. Remember, and the future episodes, whenever she spins, there's always that lightning crash, and then of course, there's a guy standing 10 feet away behind, like a wall, who doesn't hear the thunder clap. He's like, "Hey, where did Diana Prince go? Who are you?" But anyway, in this one, she just turns in slow motion. We should also say this episode was titled "The New Original Wonder Woman," to differentiate it from the Kathy Lee Crosby Wonder Woman that had just come out a few years earlier, right? So that's why it has such a weird title. Also, at the time that this show came out, Wonder Woman in the comics had been depowered and was wearing her white kung fu jumpsuit for like maybe 5 years. And this show is kind of what spearheaded them bringing her back into her original costume. Yeah, and restoring her powers. So
I didn't know that.
I wonder too if the time jump affected kind of her current origin as well. Because that's kind of what happens now. Like they keep the World War II origin, and then she time jump to present day.
I think it might be, but let's keep in mind that in the movies, she's actually in World War One.
Oh, right.
Is it World War One in the movie?
In the movie, yes, which is confusing because she was never in World War One in the comics. She was always World War II. Right?
I assumed that they did that so it wasn't Captain America. again.
Could be,
right? Because Captain America was World War II, and then
sure,
time skip, present day kind of thing,
right?
But
well, the other thing is, like, the weird thing about the comics is that, Wonder Woman unfortunately was after the original creators died, William Moulton Marsden and H.G. is it Goober? I should know this. If I'm getting the names wrong, someone can hear. You know what? Just for the sake of me not getting raked over the coals, let's just
Google.
Let's just Google this and get the names right, okay? And I should know these things, but I mean, I can't know everything about every superhero, right, guys?
Right.
So it's William Moulton Marsden and H.G. Peter. Where did I get Peter. Goober from? H.G. Goober. Anyway, it's H.G. Peter.
Maybe the G is Goober.
Could be. So
no, it's Harry George Peter.
Okay, Harry George Peter. So anyway, after they died, the comic was not really a good seller for years. But apparently, they had this contract with the creator or with the estate. If they didn't publish 4 issues every year of Wonder Woman, they would lose the contract or lose the rights, and it would revert back to the estate of Marsden. And so they had to keep publishing Wonder Woman even though it was losing money. And even when they canceled the book in 86, they put out a 4-issue miniseries just to keep the rights for a year. Then they rebooted a year later with George Perez. But that's another story.
Wow.
But I just want to say, since the book was always kind of unsuccessful in like the 50s and 60s, they tried something in the 60s where they just overnight switched her into the golden age. So in the 60s, it was set in the present day, and then all of a sudden, one issue, they're like, oh, by the way, all of our stories are in the 40s now. And they did it for like a year, and then they jumped back to the present. Then they depowered her and gave her the white kung fu suit for like 4 or 5 years. Then this TV show came out, and then once again, they said, you know what? We're going to do 1940 stories again, but now we're just going to say that it's the Earth 2 Wonder Woman. Which, for Eric, I don't know if you know about this, but DC has an Earth 1 and an Earth 2. It's very confusing.
No.
We'll just say that Earth 2 characters all take place in World War II, and Earth 1 characters always take place in the present, whatever the present is. And then when the season 2 jumped back to the present, the comics jumped back to the present. So it was always kind of the tail wagging the dog, right? They were just following the TV show.
Interesting.
And anyway, so those are some factoids about the show. Like we said, it lasted 3 years. It jumped to a different network after this. Episodes are of varying quality. Some are good, some are terrible, right?
Dave remembers to that. Dave keeps asking me, he goes, isn't there one where there's a guy in a monkey suit chasing her? I'm like, I don't know, Dave. I think there is, but I don't know when it. He thinks it's in like the early season where it's actually supposed to be a gorilla. But it's a person in a gorilla suit.
Yeah.
But I'm like, are you sure that's in the World War II portion and not the newer ones? I don't know.
It's a Wonder Woman.
Do you want to find it?
Wonder Woman versus Gargantua, that episode. So season 1, episode 1.
Okay.
And it is a gorilla?
Looks like it.
I'm going to look this up. This is Gargantua?
That's what the episode is called, yeah.
Okay. I mean,
let's see.
The show. Oh yeah, this looks awesome. I'm looking at it right now. This looks.
It's the 70s,
awesome.
right?
Yeah. What do you expect? That's actually a pretty good suit. That's like I've always found ape suits scary. Like when I was a kid, I was scared of Planet of the Apes.
This is the synopsis for the episode. The Nazis try to get back at an agent. Sorry. The Nazis try to get back an agent who turned on them. To help them in their efforts, they brainwash a gorilla named Gargantua to hate a Wonder Woman.
It sounds like a good plan to me. Yeah.
Good plot.
The show also leaned on a lot of cliches, like, Wonder Woman would be... It's funny because she has an invisible jet, but some episodes she just wouldn't have it. So she'd be like jogging, right? Down like country roads
prancing
to get to the danger, and then she would come upon like a water fountain and she'd have to jump over it or like jump over a fence, and it'd always be the woo, almost like $6 Million
like
Man,
the bionic lady.
Exactly right. And it was always so obviously a body double of like just some butchy
dude with a wig
with like or a dude with like a black wig. Yeah, clearly not Lynda Carter. But yeah, like
it's
I
so
said,
good,
it's
though.
entertaining. Yeah, it was fun, and I watched, like I said, I marathoned the whole show, and that theme song is so invigorating. I love it. It just gets you pumped up every time. You know what I mean?
I'm not singing it.
Yeah, come on, Erica. I know you want to. Okay. No pressure.
I know
no
last
pressure.
night I said I would
that's
sing
right.
it,
You said there might be some Wonder Woman karaoke. Yeah.
but yeah.
Maybe after another glass of wine, eh?
Yeah. Once I
Okay.
watch this show, I will sing that song randomly throughout the
go.
day. Dave will just
catchy.
be like, great.
So here's the thing. We know that Erica's going to marathon the show. The question is, Josh, are you going to go and watch more episodes of Wonder Woman?
I don't think so.
You can borrow my DVDs if you want to.
I don't know if
Offended.
I don't know if I would go out of my way to watch more after this one.
This one's bad.
Yeah, this one doesn't do a very good job of
No.
making me want to watch more. But I would be up for it. I wouldn't be upset if you were like, "Hey, we're going to be watching some more Wonder Woman stuff."
Right.
I'd be down.
If we ever do a Wonder Girl episode, we'll definitely review that Deborah Winger
yeah.
two-parter because it's good. It's solid.
Yeah.
Erica, are you a fan of Deborah Winger?
I do. I have like vague memory of it.
Okay.
And it's weird because I was watching that terrible show she was on. What's it called? It was on Netflix and it had Ashton Kutcher and
is it
Sam.
The Ranch?
The Ranch, maybe?
I've never
And
seen
it was
but is it good?
Oh my god. No, it's not. But I love Sam, what's his name with the mustache? And Ashton
Sam
Kutcher's, you know what I'm
Elliott.
talking about?
Elliott, yeah.
Elliott, thank you.
Yeah.
It has the hallmarks of things that should be good, but it's really hokey, and Deborah Winger is it's just bad directing because the acting is really bad. And then the guy from the 70s show got Me Too'd, and so they killed him off. Spoiler.
Ashton Kutcher?
And then
No,
the other the one that was the curly haired guy, Hyde,
Yeah,
from the 70s
Hyde.
show. He got
Me
Me Too'd, and so they
he got arrested.
kicked him off the show.
He went
Yeah.
to prison. I'm pretty sure.
Did he?
Yeah,
Do you mean Daniel Peter Masterson?
yeah. I think he's in
Is that
jail.
his name?
So they're both
Anyway.
two people from that 70s show are on this show?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. Okay.
And Deborah Winger plays the mom, but I was like, why is she so familiar? But when I looked her, I was like, oh my god, she was Super Wonder Girl. Sorry, not Supergirl.
Right.
Got my superhero
But
mixed up.
here's the thing, Josh.
She's
if you don't-
good.
Yeah. Well, she's a great actress. Josh, do you know who she is?
No. Sorry, what was her name?
She was Deborah Winger. She was huge in like the 70s and 80s. Like she was in the
Yeah.
movie An Officer and Gentleman, Terms of Endearment, Shadowlands,
I was gonna say Terms of
Urban
Endearment.
Cowboy.
Oh, she looks familiar for sure.
Yeah, she's just a great actress. She was kind of like the next
Yeah.
big thing, but then she was just like, fuck it. And she kind of just like laid low for the next 20 years.
And
But
then went
actually-
on the ranch, which was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe she needed money. I don't know. I mean, if you have
Anyway.
Netflix and you're bored, watch it, but I
Okay.
wouldn't recommend it.
It's funny in this day and age that there's still bad television out there, right? With
Yeah.
all this
Right.
Netflix and streaming things, you'd think that everything would be good, but I guess not.
No.
But anyway, okay, so yes, like I did my duty and I marathon the show, so I won't be watching it anytime soon. But if you are listening
Okay.
out there, I would recommend you watch it because I think it is a fun show, and I think kids would enjoy it too. Like if you enjoyed it as a kid and I enjoyed it as a kid, I think today's kids would enjoy it as well. That's my opinion. It's good fun, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shaped my childhood.
I can imagine that. Yeah, exactly.
see
Like there's
why.
nothing wrong with a good superhero show, right? And a good superhero.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I used to run around in my Wonder Woman underoos with my toilet paper rolls cut in half on my wrists for my bullets and
Awesome.
bracelets.
Amazing.
Yes.
And I'm a skipping rope as my lasso of truth. And my brother
Aw,
had
that's
Spider-Man underoos, and that's what we did.
Right.
That's amazing.
I used to dress up as Spider-Man, as the Hulk, as all those characters. I love that stuff, obviously. So
Yeah.
there you go, Eric. I hope it was worth the 15-year build-up.
Yeah.
I wish we could review more episodes, right? But I mean, there's only so much to talk about with this pilot because it wasn't very good,
No, it wasn't.
No.
right?
No. But I would say, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Erica.
I was gonna say, if like anybody doesn't know the history of Wonder Woman, I would highly recommend the actual movie, the first movie.
Sure.
Because it gives you a really beautiful portrayal of the competition and the island and their actual warriors, and there's lots of really strong women that are beautiful but strong, and it was I actually cried when I went to the movies to see it. But the TV show, the later episodes where it's more 70s and the clothes are more 70s, I think more people could get behind that and relate to that and have more fun with it. But I will rewatch it to see if that opinion holds up.
You know, there's something about Wonder Woman. I got to say this because you mentioned crying when you saw the movie. I remember when I saw, I don't know if it was the trailer or the movie itself, but when I saw Batman vs. Superman, which I thought was a terrible movie, but
yeah,
when Wonder Woman appeared on screen, Gal Gadot, which is how you pronounce it, Gal Gadot, I remember the feeling, because, you know, there's 4 different Spider-Mans, there's 3 different Hulks, there's 5 different whatever, but when Wonder Woman appeared on screen, I remember the feeling in the audience was like, oh my God, she's back, like there she is. It was like seeing, it was like the second coming of Christ. It was a different feeling than all these other characters. Maybe it's because she's been absent for so long, but it was a different feeling, eh? It was great.
I think too, it was just like such a highlight in it was a pretty crummy movie.
Yes, that's probably
and then like her score was great when she shows up, and it's like the most striking thing in the movie.
It's the best superhero theme I've heard in like
honestly.
decades.
Yeah.
So was she in that one before she had her own movie? Was that the first glimpse of her you got? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that I don't know what the tone of it is. It's almost like a violin or like that dee of her
so
sound.
Good. I know. It's just
and so when she in her movie, when she comes out of the what is it called, like the trench, and starts running across,
so great.
I was like bawling my eyes out.
Yeah,
and Dave's like, "Are you gonna be okay?" I was like, I'm just so excited to see her.
It's amazing. I agree. I think everyone agrees that was amazing. Amazing.
Like breathtaking. Breathtaking.
See, now I'm confused about who wrote that theme. I'm just because I believe it was written by Hans Zimmer, that actual little theme.
So good.
But I don't usually like, to be honest, I don't love his stuff, so I'm surprised that he wrote that because it's so catchy.
I think some of his stuff I think is fantastic. Some of it is pretty kind of generic. Yeah. Right. When he like actually does a score, it's great. He did the score for The Lion King.
Really? I had no idea.
Really? Amazing.
Wow.
One of the best. Not only like an amazing soundtrack by Elton John with the actual like songs, but the score in The Lion King is just beautiful.
I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer is fantastic, but I do agree. I think that this is kind of going off on a tangent, a Hans Zimmer tangent. But after The Dark Knight and Inception, kind of had like a new take on a score. Like they had that like long violin, like one note almost, and it really worked well. And it was fresh. But then now it's kind of like, oh, we really like that feel. We want to use that in the movie. So then Hans is kind of like, kind of like stuck there. But he does some great stuff. Let me see. It looks like it's Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL.
Yeah, and I don't know who that is. But
yeah. I don't know any of these things.
I'm looking him up now. His real name is Tom Holkenborg.
Junkie.
He's Dutch. Yeah. Anyway,
that's a really bad last name.
He's a DJ.
I'm just gonna say,
that's cool.
Speaking of good scores, the score for Blade Runner 2049
fantastic
was so good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the newer?
Yeah, the newer one. Did you see it, Erica?
No, I don't think I have.
Did I see it? Yes. Did I see it 3 times in the theater and then 3 times at home? Yes. It's awesome.
When did it come out?
It came out like 4 years ago, maybe. But
no, for sure, I haven't seen it.
I don't even pay attention to movie scores, but when I came home from that movie, I put Blade Runner 2049 on my YouTube playlist, and I listened to it for a year straight. I love that score. But anyway, you should, if you don't have access to the movie, I have the Blu-ray. Okay, I think I'll try and find it. I don't know if I have a Blu-ray player anymore, but
I'll see if I can find it.
Okay, we'll figure it out. And I
Definitely.
still have your Tupperware from that soup you gave me. But anyway, okay, that's a whole other subject. Okay, so yeah, we want to thank you for joining us, Erica. If you're interested in any other superheroes, we can have you on again, definitely in the near future, if you're interested.
All right, I might be willing.
Maybe
if it's TV watching. Spider-Man, the Hulk.
No,
my sister is a huge fan of the Hulk. You don't do the Hulk?
Not Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Oh no, what's that?
Yeah,
It is fantastic. It's so good.
Erica's not a fan.
Marvel licensed.
Is it what you made Dave watch?
Yes. No, the one Dave made us watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not watching that.
But for the record, we actually are doing Amazing Spider-Man on our next episode, but we've already got a guest. But hey,
that's okay.
There's nothing stopping us from having two guests. So if you really want to review Amazing Spider-Man, you're free to join us. Okay.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Thanks.
You just keep it in the back. Just sleep on it. Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. So anyway, we want to thank Erica Rock for joining us. 15 years of build-up. There you go. There's our Wonder Woman review. It was a fun discussion. It was a fun episode. It was a crappy episode, but it was a fun episode. And we want to thank Josh for joining us. And hopefully we'll have Bex Luthor and G.I. Jolie in our future episode, but they've been too busy lately to join us, but they'll be back soon. And like I said, next week, or in 2 weeks, on TAPED Crusaders, we'll be doing Amazing Spider-Man with our special guest, Cousin Brandon.
Ooh.
Yeah,
nice.
he's back again. And then on next week's episode of Slam, we will be reviewing none other than The Batman. So be sure to join us for that. And Josh, you can take it from here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. You can find all of our stuff over on our website at thecomicbooksyndicate.com. You can also find our stuff on our YouTube page or our Facebook page. Please leave us a comment or a review letting us know what you think about the things that we're watching and reading and the podcast themselves. We want to keep that comics conversation going, so keep in touch.
All right, that's right. Until the next episode, see you later.